everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Mamaroneck. It's Monday, November 10th. Notice the fire exits on either side of the room. And please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please make sure your cell phones are turned off and other electronic devices. The meeting started. Okay, we're going to start with the public hearing on proposed local law 11-2008, a new code of ethics. Mr. Fusco, please read the public hearing notice.
Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Mamaroneck on the 10th day of November 2008 at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as all parties can be heard at the municipal building located at 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue, Mamaroneck, New York, to consider proposed local law number 11-2008, a local law creating new Chapter 21 Ethics of the Code of the Village of Mamaroneck. Please take further notice that a copy of proposed local law number 11-2008 is now on file with the Clerk Treasurer of the Village of Mamaroneck. Please take further notice that said public hearings, all persons interested should be given the opportunity to be heard by order of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Mamaroneck, New York.
Thank you. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second. Please call the roll, please.
Trustees Rabinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
sorry, Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mary Savold.
Yes. Trustee Hofstadter is going to speak a little bit on the proposed law, and then Ms. Insardi, if you can pick up on. Okay, go ahead.
Well, this essentially came about because during our campaign, I guess about 2 years ago, this issue arose. And when we were sworn in, I was amazed at how simple the ethics law and the disclosure form seemed to be. And I felt that among my colleagues who ran for office then and who are on the board now, we felt that the ethics law needed to be updated. It hadn't really been updated in quite some time. And it needed to address just the appearances of a conflict of interest. And to that end, we started out with essentially revising the law from scratch. We worked hand in hand with a number of local attorneys, and at the same time, the town of Greenburgh came out with essentially a new law. So that basically put us in a spot where we felt like we needed to reevaluate where we were as far as our law, and also make sure that we were setting the standard. And then as we hired a new attorney, we asked her to revise and review the law, and essentially we started again from scratch. Janet has been extremely helpful in actually doing a lot of the research and finding what amounts to a model law for us to base our law off of, our code off of. And as far as anything else, I'll let Janet address the individual issues, but I just am very appreciative of all the work that everybody put into this, including the mayor. We had a number of meetings where we sat down with the village attorney to revise and review finer points of the law.
I just want to thank the trustees, because I know you worked very hard on this, and I appreciate all your efforts. As Trustee Hofstadter indicated, this was is based in part on some model ordinances that were recently the subject of a 3-part article in the Municipal Lawyer. So we tried to incorporate those recommendations, craft this law so it is tailored to the village. And at the same time, we did look at a number of local laws in various municipalities to see how they were structured. So I think that the law, although it's not perfect, and I think there will be some changes made, it's a very good start. It's pretty comprehensive. And so I offer it to you for your consideration.
Are there any members of the public here who wish to comment on the proposed local law? Please step forward, state your name and address.
Bischoff, 334 Richville Road. I'm dealing here, I can't question, the law wasn't passed out. I would, just my quick thoughts was that if we have, like you have the public hearing now, put it to rest for the next time, and this way we can give out, maybe the newspaper will give a plug to this program, and then we can find out what we can do and have another public hearing. That's what I'm asking for, because I think it's necessary, and we could try. I also would like to see, in a general structure, there's somebody who doesn't want to reveal his money or this. There should be an appeal board on that same board, 2 or 3, that could hear his presentations and allow him to delete that particular item from his resume for this structure. All right, thank you. So the idea is, everything, the more you demand, the less participation occurs.
Just to respond to your comment, the public hearing was set at the last board meeting, and the law has been available for anyone who wished to see it on the website for the past week. And also, if you don't have access to the website and you knew the public hearing was on the agenda, we would have sent a copy or gotten a copy of the law to anyone who requested it. So you are here at every meeting. I think you probably knew that tonight was the public hearing. If you wanted a copy to read before tonight, you had ample opportunity to do so. But we just gave you a copy now.
Yes, okay.
As the attorney said, that we will probably make some changes to this law based on some comments that have come in from the trustees and from some members of the staff. So this is a process. We're not going to vote on the law tonight.
Great.
This is a process, and there'll be time for you to give some comment to it. But just as just a point for other people, if you don't have access to a computer, you don't go to the library to use a computer, and there is a proposed local law, contact the office, contact Village Hall, and we'll make sure that we put a copy in the mail to you. Or stop by Village Hall and we'll get you a copy. It's not that difficult thing to do. Okay. Is there anyone else here?
Could I address one thing that Mr. Scharf said? You mentioned that you felt that there should be a sort of a board or a review of people's, an opportunity to appeal. There would be an ethics board that is essentially made up of various members of the community, no more than 2 members of either political party, and they would be in a position to be the board that would be appealed to.
I'm going to have to ask you not to have a conversation. We can't hear you on the mic. We can't hear you, and the people at home can't hear you.
Get up to the mic, or
So you can come back up to the mic if you wish to have a dialogue. It's okay?
you right?
Okay, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
We
sir.
just can't hear you. Okay. Okay, is there any other member of the public who wishes to comment on the proposed local law 11-2008, the Ethics Code? This is a lot of work. I'm very proud of this. I would just like to say thank you to Ms. Ansardi, who did a lot of staff work on this, but I want to clarify something she just said. I think this is a long way. There might be some tweaking on this proposed law, but this is a good draft, I think, and a good effort. It's hopefully going to set the standard for others. It's based on the model code, and everything we read about ethics codes while we were doing the research said to tailor it to the needs of your community. And so there are certain sections that we didn't need that other people have. One municipality had a whole section on use of village stationery, which is not a problem here in the village of Mamaroneck, so we didn't need to address that. That's just one example. So, any members of the board wish to make any comments?
Yeah, it's just rereading it, there was just a couple of minor questions or issues that I had. The first one pertained, was on page 10. And it says, it's about the members of the Ethics Board. An Ethics Board member may make campaign contributions, but may not participate in any election campaign. And I think what we meant to say, may not participate in any local election campaign, because I don't think we want to preclude somebody from, doing work for a presidential or senatorial or congressional campaign. I mean, I actually have, I have questions about if we can, even on the First Amendment, preclude anybody from any election campaign. Are we infringing upon their rights of free speech by saying they can't be in any election campaign?
Maybe the word participate isn't exactly, maybe we want, we want to make sure we're not putting people who are political patronage or
No, I
political
understand.
cronies on the board. So maybe it's not participate as much as direct or manage or,
Right, any local election,
Right,
yeah.
right.
That's fine, I just wanted to,
So maybe the word participate can be clarified.
Yeah, we can look at that language.
right, and you just tailor it to local elections and not to anything outside the village of Mamaroneck.
Right. I agree with you on that, right.
And the only other issue I had was page 8, letter Q, village property. No officer or employee shall use or request or permit the use of village-owned property, including but limited to, and it goes on to specify, but would a fireman be considered an officer of the village?
No,
No?
no, we already defined officer.
Okay. Then I have no problem with that.
The only, the
chief and the
fire chief
assistant.
or the assistant fire chief, so they would just have to, we'd have to make sure that,
Because the issue that I had was that there's a lot of times the fire personnel will request the use of the house that they belong to for a christening or a family function, and it's usually normally just given out to them.
We'll look at that,
Okay.
that issue.
We don't want
It
to
does-
preclude
it-
that from happening.
no. Okay. Any other?
Just one little thing on page 10G, where we talk about service, and if an ethics board member can only serve, shall not exceed 2 full terms. And then it's a little, to me, it was a little confusing in that if you don't find a replacement, you might need to hold somebody over, so I thought we should be a little more open with that one.
Anyone else? Any other comments?
I can clarify that last one, just,
Yeah, that's just a tweaking.
So I guess just the one thing that we've been discussing among ourselves is just the section on gifts and solicitations. We found out this evening. Is this public knowledge, Mr. Verastro?
Oh, yes, I saw it on the Chamber's minutes, and they announced it at their last meeting.
Okay. Mr. Verastro is going to be honored by the Chamber of Commerce at their annual dinner in January.
January 9th.
January 9th. So we want to make sure that when someone is being honored for their public service, that their attendance at such a dinner is not contrary to our ethics code. So we'll tweak a couple little things here and there.
Putting that on my calendar right now, Lenny.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendar.
I did it today when I
January
read
9th.
it.
Right.
Put it on there.
Mine's March.
You. Is there anything else? Okay, no, nobody? Do we have, now, Ms. Insardi, how do you wish that we proceed at this point in time?
well,
Before you go any further, can I ask a clarifying statement, question? We have the disclosure form as well.
yes.
Is this,
Disclosure forms, actually.
right, the disclosure process. Is this considered one law, or are we approving both of these things individually?
It's really one item, because if you notice, the form is referenced in the law. So, and it's really something that, over time, the form could also change, over time. And so I think it would be one vote. But at this time, what I would suggest is, in light of the fact that we may be making some substantive changes to the law, even though tweaking would be considered substantive in this instance, given the nature of the changes, I would suggest that the board close this public hearing. I will be making changes to the law in accordance with the comments that I've heard from tonight and from people over time. And I will be then reissuing that law, and we'll hold a public hearing on the revised law. So at this time, close this public hearing with respect to this law, and we'll be reintroducing the revised law at the next, with any luck, the next meeting.
So just to follow the time, we would reintroduce the revised law at the next meeting, set a public hearing at that meeting,
Yes,
and then so the public hearing would be able to have the first meeting in December, not the organizational meeting, but the first regular board meeting in December?
right, whatever works for the, for the board.
Okay,
But it would require another public hearing.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So I need a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a question from the audience.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
When you send this out, and you could send it out to the public, because for some reason we're not communicating well, there's paper problems, people don't get their information. I would recommend, because it's such a long time situation, it's gonna affect the village, is that we make a general mailing for the citizenry.
This is 20, let's see, this is 20-something pages. We will send it to people on request, or people can download it off the website. So, Ms. Roberts, could you make a note that when the revised draft is available, that we mail it to Mr. Scharf, please? Okay. We'll mail you a copy. All right, we had a motion to close the public hearing on the table, I think, Trustee
Yes.
Ryan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fusco, please call the vote.
Trustees Rubinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy.
I just want to thank the mayor and John Hofstadter for their hard work on this, and I vote aye.
Mayor Savolt.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, this is the point in the meeting where any members of the public can step forward and address the board on any issues. Step forward, state your name and address.
Senator Avenue, I just want to congratulate, first of all, the trustees in a great campaign that they won. I wish you luck in the next 2 years. Now, I have 2 issues tonight I want to discuss. One of them being sensitivity to the residents as far as parking. What I'm talking about is, this happened to me. It was late one afternoon last week. I'm going into the village. I had no intentions of shopping, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, I wanted to stop at this store and purchase something. There's 8 parking spaces that are empty. I pull in, go in my purse. Well, I don't have a quarter. I have 2 dimes and a nickel, not a quarter. I thought, oh, let me go get a quarter so I can go park. Ticketing agent came, and he said to me, I see no money in the meter. I said, you're right, I have a quarter. I have 25 cents here. I want to get a quarter. Well, his response was, if you do, you're going to get a ticket. And I thought, but, I don't understand why I can't go get a quarter. I had to move my car, and I had to leave it at home. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm going, well, here we have a situation where you have 8 parking spaces that are empty, a merchant who lost a $50 sale, no quarter in the meter, a very unhappy resident, but a ticket agent who rightfully so did his job, according to ways. And I'm thinking, well, maybe we can go back and temper it a little bit, especially now that we're going into the holiday season. It's a rough retail season for all the retailers, and maybe we can sort of temper it and say, you know what? If you're showing the officer the dollar or the change or whatever, give a resident 60 seconds, 90 seconds to go in and get a quarter. It would go a long way. Also, on this vein, I was wondering, for years, with the Chamber of Commerce worked with the village, and I believe it was the week leading up to Christmas, where there was free parking, and I was just wondering if that was gonna be done this year, if that was something that was considered.
Well, normally, we used to get a request from the chamber, but for the last several years, they haven't requested it because they felt it caused more problems, especially with enforcement and trying to limit it to the time limit that's enforced on the avenue.
If I can just,
Please.
if you're getting out of your car and...
Could you speak into the mic?
Sorry.
Chief?
If you are getting out of your car and you're going into the store and you have change, you should definitely be allowed to go into the store, get change. I agree with you 100%. There's absolutely no excuse for that, and I certainly will address it. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
And like I said, I had mentioned it at a gathering over the weekend to the residents who live, and they said, the same thing happened to them.
Yeah.
So I said, well, it's sort of not a good feeling. It's not like we're avoiding the law. It's just sometimes you pull in a parking space and you don't have a quarter. And also, I was just wondering too, we were battering back a few things about maybe the village could look into putting change machines somewhere along the avenue, if that's an option, or just something, because you're limited to quarters, and sometimes you just don't have that quarter.
I keep quarters in I don't smoke, so my
No, I don't smoke
ashtray.
either, and usually
My
I have
ashtray,
the
I
quarters.
throw quarters in whenever I have a quarter, I throw it in my ashtray so that I have it in the car, so, yeah.
I had the quarters and my grandkids in the car. That situation.
And if you have quarters, the kids want them.
Well, so that's, so
All
I'm
right,
saying, if we could temper this and maybe address it a little bit and just be a little bit more gentle.
Well, the chief said he would address
Right,
it with
yeah.
the PEO.
Thank you very
And
much
I
for
have
bringing
one more
this up.
question. Yeah, I have one more question,
Thank
please.
you.
And I really wanted to address this to Tony because she had alluded to it. And I was just wondering, you had alluded to the fact that there was possibly a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers. And I was just wondering if that meeting took place, if there's any resolution or...
Kathy, Mayor Savold, would you like to answer that?
The meeting did take place. The minutes of the meeting are posted on our website under Flood News. We have a tab for Flood News. It also was summarized in the Sound in Town on Friday's edition. The Army Corps, there was a meeting with the county, the Army Corps of Engineers,
DEC.
DEC, the State Department of Environmental Conservation, Metro North, and the village. There were 24 people in the room from these, there were 6 agencies, so who am I missing? Oh, Congresswoman Lowy's office
Right.
as well. 6 different agencies from different levels of government. The Army Corps of Engineers and as we've discussed in the past, by federal statute, they must have a local sponsor to come in and do a project. By New York State law, that local sponsor has to be the State Department of Environmental Conservation. The state has asked the county to participate financially as well. So the 2 entities are going to be the local sponsors. The state and the county have each been asked to contribute up to $900,000 to the cost of a $7 million study of the Sheldrake and Mamaroneck River watersheds. So these 3 governmental agencies right now are still in the midst of ironing out all their legal arrangements and signing the legal agreements. So because that's taking longer than expected, and there's nothing we can do about this, we're thankful for their money. They are looking to start in the spring of '09, the study in the spring of '09. They had originally announced to us that the study would take about 2 years. They've laid out all the steps and the timeline, and it came out to 30 months. And they've guaranteed to Congresswoman Lowy that they would do it in 30 months. Now, everyone should realize this is much faster than the Army Corps of Engineers usually moves, and that's because Congresswoman Lowy has secured the funding for the study up front. Usually they have partial funding and they have to get appropriations as the study moves along. But the entire $7 million has been appropriated for the study up front. So once they get started, they'll be able to keep going.
And while this study is going on, just
Time's
to
up, Mayor.
clarify in my mind.
Let's just finish this topic. Yeah.
While this study's going on, is there going to be any construction or anything done to help alleviate as far as talking about retaining walls, anything like that?
We've asked them basically, what can we do while this study is going on? In fact, we had some specific questions about some specific projects, a bridge in the village, the Jefferson Avenue Bridge, and also the town and the Waverly Avenue Bridge, and we were specifically told not to proceed. They did tell us that Harrison can move forward with removing the road to nowhere, and we're working with Harrison to find out what their timeline is on that. We hope that Harrison will proceed, but we also had to be mindful that Harrison and most of the towns have a large budget deficit this year because of the change in the economic climate. As far as retaining walls, we've been talking about this Mudcat, which is this $250,000 piece of equipment that Harrison bought, and we're moving forward. They're going to be walking the river, the Harrison staff and the village staff. They're going to be walking the Mamaroneck River first from the dam as far down as they can go. My understanding, and this could be just hearsay, until we get the experts there, I can't really say for sure. I'll tell you what I know. What I think I know, is what I've been told, is that this machine actually can take the rocks out of the middle of the river, from the side of the river, and push them back up where they belong, and remove limbs and remove other debris from the river. But until we actually get the people who know how to operate this machine and can operate this machine to assess what our issues are and along our waterways, and then Harrison, they'll look at it, they'll determine what the scope of work needs to be done. They're going to let us use the machine. We'll have to rent it from them and an operator, so they'll come back to us with some specifics. So that we are working on right now. But we can't do anything with bridges and whatnot because they're not going, they just said they don't want us to spend money if they then decide to widen the river at that point in time. So we'll spend millions of dollars on a bridge, although the Jefferson Avenue Bridge is in pretty bad shape. So they said they would look at the engineering report, which we've sent to them, and we're working with them very closely. But this is the way it is.
We weren't looking for major construction, like you said, just the retaining walls,
Right.
cleaning all of that.
Well,
Let that be a start.
A lot of the retaining walls are on private property.
Right, exactly.
And
So
they are the responsibility of the property owner,
Owner.
not the village. However, if this machine can do some of the things that it reportedly can do, and again, I'm skeptical, until I actually see the thing and see what it does, we may be able to just easily fix walls. If not, it really is the property owner's responsibility when it's on their property. Okay? All right. I hope that answered everybody's question.
And thank you
For
for
further information, we do now, on the new village website, have a flood news tab. Also, the publisher of the Sound in Town has been kind enough to allow me to write a column. I'm going to try for biweekly. Flood news Part 1 was in on Friday. Flood news Part 2 will be coming. Because besides the structural and non-structural changes and flood mitigation, we're also doing other things as well. And so we'll explain that later on.
Thanks for explaining it all, because you were at the meeting and you really know all the ins and outs of it, so I hope that helped, Mary Lou.
Irving Shop, 334 Richbell Road. There's two items I want to bring before you. One is a very nice item that we saw, I think, Saturday in the paper, a reduction of 14.2% for the people living in Wright Town. That's a tremendous, there was a lot of things going on in Wright Town that seemed to be wrong. They were going to make, without a policeman, they were going to still make a police commissioner. So a guy could get dressed up with the uniform and spend money. It was wild over there for the 4 years ago. Now this young fellow took over, and he's doing a tremendous job in Wright Town. If you want, I'll give you a copy of it.
So,
So
I read it.
So
we read it,
Seen it.
yeah.
Is that-
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
One thing that worries me, sometimes I can't go to sleep. I'm thinking about this thing over here they have on the housing. They call it housing. Actually, it's not. I think it's a building over in, they want to build yacht homes, 31 homes, and they're suing us, and it's, so I would like to get an update on that situation to know what's happening with the yacht club.
I'm going to pass that along to our village attorney.
Yeah. As a general matter, we are in the process of speaking with Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht about potentially settling the case, and that's really all I can say at this point. But
That's the good news, to hear that there's talk of settlement. That's what was my concern.
I just want to also clarify in the Wright Town, since I live in Wright Town, the average town tax bill in the town of Rye is less than $100. So the 14% decrease, it doesn't amount to very much money, but we'll take it anyway.
Always take money, that's good.
Good attention. It was always going up before, now it's,
Right.
now it came down.
It actually hasn't, but,
It's a great media item.
okay. Anyone else like to address the board on any issue? Nope. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 2 on the agenda, approval of the minutes. We have before us the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees from October 27th, 2008. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Do I have any comments from any member of the board?
I sent corrections earlier, just spelling, very minor corrections to Sally.
Anybody else have any
Yeah.
comments on the minutes? I thought we were changing the spelling of Officer DeRuse's name.
I don't think we got the new ones.
It's only, I think you changed it in one place, but it's not changed. You should have done a global search.
Yeah.
That's okay. Oh, well. It's, oh, are these the old, is this
You
the
have-
old
you still
version?
have the,
Oh, this is the old
corrected
version.
ones.
Okay, I gave you comments on Friday. Okay, these are the old version. All right, so we had some misspellings. Okay. All right, any other comments, anything?
Pardon me.
Mr. Fusco, please call the vote.
Trustees Rubinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Sable.
Okay, we also have before us minutes of a special meeting of the Board of Trustees that was held on October 29, 2008, a special meeting with the Old Rhinebeck Homeowners Association. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make the motion.
Second?
Any comment?
I just want to thank the people from the Rhinebeck Homeowners Association for taking the time to get involved in their community.
And I thought it was a very lively discussion, and I thought a lot of good ideas were exchanged. And I want to especially thank Chief Flynn for being there. I think he added a lot of comfort to the community, knowing that he was accessible and available.
I also want to thank our Rhinebeck School Superintendent, Dr. Peter Mustick, Rhinebeck School Board President Nancy Tucci, and Bellow School Principal Marge Longabuco, who also were in attendance to discuss issues of concern to the neighborhood and to the community as well.
And our village manager, too.
Thank you,
Let's
Tom.
get everybody. And Sergeant Lind is
Was
doing a
awesome.
lot of work following up on these issues as well, so.
And he was present.
Wait, now we've talked to everybody except Lieutenant Leahy, so now we have to
We
mention.
gotta throw him in
Lieutenant
there
Leahy was
now.
there too.
Right. It's quite a crew.
Okay, is that it?
I think
Mr.
we got everybody.
Yes.
Well, we had about 30 residents. I couldn't possibly begin to name them, so. Mr. Fusco, please call the vote.
Trustees Rubinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Sable.
I'm surprised no one talked about how well the minutes were taken. and
I was
typed up.
going to, but I didn't want to seem like I was brown-nosing.
Okay, yes, I took the minutes. Okay, next item on the agenda, item 3, is the audit of the bills. We have an abstract of audited vouchers before us totaling $1,139,244.51. And that breaks down to $267,776.34 in general fund expenses, $860,484.33 in capital project expenditures, and $10,983.84 in other expenditures. Do I have a motion to approve the abstract?
Mayor, I just want to point out there was one correction on page 20.
Under zoning.
A legal bill for Callahan and Fusco, which was charged to the zoning board. Since they do not have a budget for legal fees, this was reclassified to the attorney's budget account,
Okay,
1420-421.
thank you. So we need a motion to approve the abstract as amended.
I make that motion.
Second.
Any further comments? Mr. Fusco, please call the vote.
Trustees Rubinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Sable.
Yes. Under old business, item 4A, a resolution to increase our 2009 beach and parking fees.
Yes, Mayor, since the last meeting, I really haven't had a chance to sit down with the Superintendent of Recreation and speak to her about getting some additional information and clarification on the proposal from the Rec Commission. So I asked this be tabled again.
Okay. Item 5, new business. 5A, transfer funds for the temporary police desk. Mr. Verasco, this is a...
Yes, Mayor, this request is in connection with setting up the new police communication console equipment in the little office in the lobby, which you see as you come in. This was set up as a temporary location for police dispatch and communication. There was an unbudgeted charge of $9,200 to run the necessary cabling and wiring to this location, testing out the system. So since it was an unbudgeted item, I'm asking for a transfer from the contingent account of $9,200 to Village Hall Building Improvements, which is account A162409.
Do you want to...
The only good side of this is when we move it back in connection with item 5B, there will not be an additional charge to reinstall the equipment.
Oh, that's good. And do you want to talk a little bit about why we're doing all of this in the first place?
I will defer to the police chief.
Well, basically, we upgraded all of our communications equipment. And,
I understand the old equipment basically
was dilapidated, it
apart.
was falling apart, it was becoming dysfunctional. And part of it is a grant. Part of the equipment that's being installed is 911 equipment being supplied by the county, and part is being supplied by the village. But it needs a much larger area than the area that we're currently in to have the communications equipment installed. So that's basically why we're doing that.
Okay. So I need a motion, and we didn't budget for this. Do you want to talk a little bit about?
Well, yeah, again, in connection with 5B,
Because it's 5A and 5B.
They're linked.
yeah, 5B is asking, actually, I had asked for a budget amendment for reconstruction of our old police desk area. When we originally got the appropriation for the new equipment, we were investigating a whole new renovation of specifically the police area and other areas in this building, making it ADA compliant. We had some issues with the plan that was designed initially. It asked for massive renovations, ripping out the front staircase, ripping out the new ADA accessible doors. So the board had requested that I send out an RFP and speak to other architectural firms, perhaps some that specialize in public safety and police facilities. I've received two proposals back already. One was recommended by the company doing the review of the police department. I will be presenting those to the board, but in the meantime, it does not look like there's going to be a short-term solution to the police desk area. So again, the reconstruction was anticipating being part of a total renovation project. We did anticipate the new furniture that was going to be needed and the electrical work, which was included in the budget. However, we added some additional equipment, which was recommended by both emergency services, the police and fire department, for a synchronized clock for our command center, which would tie into the police desk, the fire chief's office, and our temporary command center at Hook and Ladder Firehouse, which would eventually be moved to the new firehouse. So the total for the reconstruction and the additional synchronized clock is a $25,000 amendment to the capital authorization. As discussed at the work session, since our fund balance is not up to what is recommended by the State Controller's Office, I am revising my request to just amend the capital authorization and be included with a future authorization to issue a bond resolution.
Okay. So for 5A, that gives us the background of the project and sort of where it stands right now. For 5A, then, you're requesting that we transfer $9,200 from the contingent account in the operating general fund to building improvements for Village Hall.
That's correct.
Okay, and then 5B will be the reconstruction of the police desk at its original location.
Correct.
Let's just we'll hold that
Okay.
for a second. Let's just do 5A. So I need a motion to approve the transfer of the $9,200.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Chief, you said some of this was a result of grants, correct?
Right.
So there's no problem with getting reimbursed for the grants? Is the 9,200 or all of this being reimbursed or partially being?
No, the grant money was for the communications equipment itself, not for the construction on the desk.
Okay.
How much did we spend on a communications equipment? Anybody know
I
offhand?
don't have an exact figure, but it was a
Ballpark.
significant sum. It was,
Bigger than a bread box?
Yeah, I think
lot
I think the communication equipment, without the furniture, the consultant's fee, and the electrical work was around $225,000.
This is a major project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. this
So
is
with everything,
small part
we're
of it.
talking about,
Well, the original authorization was $277,000.
so we're talking about
500.
$300,000, a
Plus,
$300,000
that
project.
did not include the additional authorization we had for cabling in all of the village buildings, which was an additional $85,000. So altogether, it was about a $360,000 project.
Okay.
For cash flow purposes, would it be appropriate to group this in with 5B, future issuance of a bond?
Instead of taking out a contingency.
Mr. Manager?
Well, I don't know, it's just to set up a temporary location, so.
There's a change order still to the same project.
You guys decide.
Yeah, you're the experts.
I mean, I think it's just a regular operational expense, the $9,200.
You feel comfortable bringing the contingency fund down to 113 at this point in the year? We're halfway through the year.
Well, based on our discussion today, it'll be up to 120. I only took 7,500 of the veggie truck.
Oh, right,
Yeah, so I-
Giving you back $7,500, right?
So I'm comfortable with 120.
120? All right.
So we're going back to your original request.
All right, so we're leaving this out of contingent.
We're going
The
to,
92, yeah, coming from the
okay.
contingent.
Okay.
okay.
So we have a motion on the table to transfer the money from the contingency account. Anybody have any further comments or discussions or questions of the staff? No? Mr. Fusco, call the vote, please.
Trustees Rabinowitz?
Aye.
Hofstadter?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Savolt?
Yes. Okay, then we have item 5B, which is related, which is a request for an additional $25,000 to rebuild the police desk and install the new equipment and the new furniture in the original location. And our original request was to take the money out of the appropriated fund balance, but as Mr. Verasser just said, we can amend the authorized amount of the financing resolution that was passed for, let's see, $277,500. We can amend this, increase it by $25,000, bringing the total amount for the resolution for financing to $302,500. And our short-term financing, we just found out in the work session, is about 2.5%.
2.5 short term.
2.5%.
As long as 4.5, would average a term of 20 years.
But we'd be doing 2.5%
2.5,
financing
yes.
on this. So that's, the cost of money is relatively inexpensive for another $25,000. So I need a motion to amend to, let's see, that the prior capital authorization to replace the police communication console in the amount of $277,500 is amended by $25,000 for additional equipment and renovations.
I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question for the chief. How long do you think this renovation will take till the officers that are presently in the hallway here are back in their
it
position?
shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 weeks. Once they get started with the construction, it shouldn't take long at all.
Okay. Thank you.
We said about the firehouse.
It's on a little smaller scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is doable.
Mr. Fusco, please call the vote.
Trustees Rabinowitz?
Aye.
Hofstadter?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Savolt?
Yes. Item 5C is extension of our license agreement with Wireless Edge. Mr. Verastro, this is a request.
Yes, Mayor, this is in connection with our telecommunications flagpole at Harbor Island. The village has a license agreement with Wireless Telecommunications, whereas they rent space on that flagpole to wireless carriers. There were 4 cell companies participating in the flagpole. They lost Nextel, and they are currently negotiating with another carrier to replace Nextel. However, as part of the negotiations, the carrier requested that the current term of the lease with the village and Wireless Edge be extended for 2 more 5-year options, which would take the lease out to the year 2026. So as part of this, they would increase our minimum rent, which currently is $100 a year, up to $5,000 per year, starting with the first 5-year extension period, which would commence on January 1st, 2026, it would commence, and continue until 2036. I don't know if I'll still be around then, but
I'm not sure any of us will.
also,
We'll be here.
I mean, they maintain the area around the flagpole. They maintain the yard arms. Is that what you call them?
Yes.
The lanyards, I guess. The lanyards to pull the flag up and down. However, in the past, the village was responsible for replacing those large flags, and the cost of each flag is $550. So as part of this, the board had suggested I go back and speak to Wireless Edge about working into the agreement, also their responsibility to replace the flags. I originally had it commencing on June 1st, 2009. The village attorney said, why wait? Let's start January 1st, 2009. So I spoke to Tom McHugh, one of the principals of Wireless Edge, and he was agreeable to that change. So we're presenting to you attached a copy of the amendment to the license agreement, which will be changed to reflect that other date.
Okay. And even though our minimum rent is $100, how much do we get?
Well, there was initial write-off for capital cost allowance, but on any new user, we receive 50% of the rent that is collected by Wireless Edge, and it increases 4% per year. There's an escalation rate built into it.
So let me just, put this in terms for the watching public. We have gotten them in, after some of us will, hopefully we'll still be alive. But, after we'll be long off this board, the village will be realizing a $5,000 annual rent, base rent, on top of what it gets, instead of the $100 it's getting now. And in the short term, we're getting 2 flags per year, which probably costs us about $1,100 that we get.
Currently, yes.
So, and hopefully it'll look better, because we're not always timely in the replacement of flags, and sometimes the flags look a little worn, like they'd seen dawn's early light. So this is a win-win. We're doing something for the residents now, and we're taking care of the fiduciary responsibility of the village long-term, long after we're off the board.
Yeah, and prior to losing this prior tenant on the flagpole, I mean, the village was realizing almost $70,000 a year from the flagpole.
And I just want to say that, agreeing with Trustee Murphy, that when we heard that their base fee was $100 only, and that we were replacing the flags, and this is a perfect time to negotiate, so I just want to thank Lenny for going ahead and negotiating to the village's advantage, which always makes sense. You never get anything you don't ask for, so thank you for asking for it.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I need a motion to authorize Mr. Verasso to execute the amendment on behalf of the village.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just think it's timely in light of Veterans Day.
Getting new flags.
Yeah.
We just need to correct the spelling of the word amendment.
I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on my list of things to do.
Okay. Mr. Fusco, call the
big
vote,
list.
please.
Trustees Rubinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Sable.
Yes, and Again, thank you to Mr. Verastro for your tough negotiating stance with the vendor.
Janet for making them tough.
Okay, next up is item 5D, a renewal agreement between the County of Westchester and the village for weapons of mass destruction. Mr. Verastro, I think maybe you better explain this to us.
Well, yeah, actually, this is to receive specialized equipment, not limited to personal protective detection, decontamination, and communications hardwares and supplies to better respond to acts of terrorism involving chemical and biological agents, as well as radiological, nuclear, and explosive devices. This is a renewal of an agreement with Westchester County, and it's really flow-through funds from New York State, which comes from the federal government, I guess, Homeland Security funds.
This is just authorizing us to receive funds for equipment or equipment itself?
That's correct.
Okay.
And they specify the types of equipment we're allowed to buy with these funds?
There was supposed to be an attachment to this
Yeah,
that
there's a
told us.
schedule.
Yeah,
There's supposed to be a schedule.
yeah.
Well, the schedule was part of the original agreement. This is just extending it.
So it's
So
for
we
the
can-
original agreement?
Yes.
We can use our imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's listed here.
Right.
Chief, are these items that the police department has to renew constantly, or?
Well, we do have personal protective equipment for these type of situations, but it does have to be upgraded, and that's basically what the county is doing now, upgrading this equipment, and it's going to be made available to police departments and fire departments.
Okay.
Well, thank you to the county.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need a motion to authorize Mr. Verastro to sign the agreement with the County of Westchester, as just discussed.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Mr. Fusco, call the vote, please.
Trustees Rabinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes,
Murphy,
Aye, and may we never use it.
great.
Yes.
Mayor Sable.
Yes. Item 5E is a request from Barnacle Barbecue for a letter of no objection. This is a restaurant that's going into the slot where Jolly Trolley used to be, into the space where Jolly Trolley used to be. Mr. Fusco, this is a memo from you. Do you want to explain a little bit why we have this before us?
Yes, Barnacle Barbecue has asked us to waive the 30-day period. Typically, notification is sent to the Board of Trustees and Police Chief, and a 30-day process is here too, where the Police Chief does a background search on the facilities. My office
You
was
Barnacle
notified by...
Barbecue? Okay, when he finishes, you can talk, okay?
New York State Liquor Authority told us that there's a 6 to 9 wait on issuing a liquor license, and brought before you is a permission to waive the 30-day period.
Okay. Sir, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi, my name is Coleman McCarthy, and looking to open the restaurant formerly known as the Jolly Trolley. It's going to be the Barnacle BBQ Seafood Shack, and it's located next to Brewers Hardware. When we filed all the paperwork, we sent in a form that we sent in that we're discussing right now for the SLA. For some reason, we sent it to the wrong agencies. So we did fill it out, but only when we caught it, I spoke to Sally, we had it taken care of, we had it stamped, and the SLA notified us, I guess about a month ago, and they need a letter of no objection, so they have reviewed our license, not saying, I don't know how long it will take after we do get this taken care of, but they did notify our attorney requesting this step, and originally, it is 6 to 9 months, but we do have about almost 4 into it, 3.5. So we don't know how long it will take, but this letter, we will not get our case even looked at until this letter is given to the SLA.
Do you operate any other restaurants in the area?
Not in the area, I do in New York City.
New York City. Normally, we ask our police department if there are any objections. or-
No objections.
Okay, thank you.
And you sent it to, just, you made a mistake and sent it to the town of Mamaroneck instead of the village, is that correct?
Yes. I believe
Yeah,
that
so it was just a matter of just
Mixed
not
up your
knowing.
Mamaroneck's.
Yeah, you mixed up where it needed to go, and that's
You wouldn't be the first
easy
person who
mistake
did
to
that.
make, so
I filled out a
yeah.
lot of papers.
it's an easy mistake to make. Yeah.
You You guys asked for a few things.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
When do you anticipate opening? Do you have an idea yet, Cole?
I'm hoping if I get this letter, the SLA will let us know. We don't know. As of now, it's stalled until until we can give the SLA something.
Oh, so there's not much work you have to do before you
Want to
open?
put the outside, the back deck, inside. There's a good amount of work still. We requested from the town to put on, to change the whole front and to put an outside deck, which we did all the work for that. That was okayed.
Did you file that with the village?
We did.
Village?
Okay. Not the town.
Not the town?
Just don't want to go down the wrong path again.
Right.
Like when I was at Brewers, I said Home Depot, and they're like, Home Depot.
It's wrong word to say Brewers.
They didn't like
Big
that.
mistake.
Oh, so you
Actually, in
have
the
your
future-
special permit and everything already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, just so you know, in the future, you're actually in the Village of Mamaroneck, Town of Rye.
Yeah, you're not even in the town. You're in the town of Rye, so.
On the other side of the
You're
river.
on the other side of the river.
That'll take a whole
We'll
night to
explain it
explain
afterwards.
also.
I moved
Just
up.
let you-
Okay. I'm okay now.
You need a color-coded pie chart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Need a motion?
All right, so you still need to do some work and whatnot. So we're looking forward to having you joining the village.
Thank you very much.
So we need a motion to, I guess,
To waive.
Waive the 30
Waive
days.
to
Waive
waive
the
the
30-day
30-day
wait.
notification period and to, we have to do a letter of no objection, which I guess the village manager, we authorize the village manager or the clerk?
Clerk.
Clerk treasurer. Authorize the clerk treasurer to send a letter of no objection. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right.
Any further discussion?
Now, Lenny, how are you getting by with this place being closed? I noticed it was on the regular lunch schedule.
Well, we're anxiously waiting for it to reopen.
Yeah, he's the one who asked when it was opening, did you notice?
Mr. Fusco, you want to call the vote on this, please?
Trustees Rabinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Savolt.
Yes, this is within walking distance of the regatta where the offices
Hall.
are, so
You'll see that
it's
page.
a regular lunch haunt of the village staff.
No special favors,
Thank you very
though.
much and good luck.
I'll try.
It's-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've
Good
got
luck.
nerve
Thank you.
opening a restaurant in this economic climate. We
Right.
wish you well.
We wish you the best, yeah.
I appreciate it. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, Cole.
Okay, next is item 5F, a schedule of public hearing for the rezoning of the Mamaroneck train station. And we have Mr. Verney with us again today.
Good evening.
And Ms. Insardi, I'm sure you're going to have something to say.
Yes, ever so briefly, as you may recall, this matter was presented to you some time ago, and at the last meeting, we declared this board as lead agency in connection with the environmental review of the rezoning. Since that time, I believe Mr. Verney has been to the zoning board, and he still has to go to the HCZM, and then we can hold a public hearing, and at that time, the board will take public comment and undertake or continue its secret review of this action. So at this time, I offer you a resolution to schedule the public hearing on December 8th. Now, I should note, Mr. Verney and I have discussed the notification requirements, and Mr. Verney will be endeavoring to comply with those requirements before the hearing.
Okay. Do you have anything
Met with
to add?
the zoning board, and they were very helpful. We're going to hope to meet next Wednesday with the HCZM, and then we'll be ready to go. So we're moving things forward. Everyone's been very helpful, very excited about the project. Everything's been very positive, so we are encouraged, so.
So I just want to be clear, we're scheduling a public hearing just for the rezoning. The issue is to rezone the Mamaroneck train station property from an R20 to a C1 zone. Not the
Yes.
project itself, just the rezoning.
Except that,
Point in time.
I do want to point out that to the extent that you're undertaking an environmental review, you're looking at the action as a whole. However, your jurisdiction with respect to this case is simply the rezoning.
The rezoning, okay. Okay, I need a motion to schedule the public hearing for the rezoning for December 8th, 2008.
I'll
Make that motion.
All three of us.
Everyone made it.
You guys are rejuvenated and revitalized.
No.
Good to have you back.
It's those pretzels they had.
Give it
Any
to-
further discussion?
Yeah, just want to point out that after we, eventually change the zoning, this will have to go to planning then for site plan review.
Yes, it would go to planning, it also
Zoning.
was going to zoning, it's,
Right, it's going to be
Okay,
a lot
I
of
just want to,
places.
just so the audience playing along at home.
ACZM for the
BAR.
project. Right. We'll see a lot of you.
Yeah.
We'll see a lot of you on LMC-TV. Yes. Okay, we have the motion on the table. Mr. Fusco, call the vote, please.
Trustees Rabinowitz,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Sable.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you
you very much, and congratulations on the results of your election.
Thank you, John.
Okay, report from village manager. Mr.
Yes, Mayor, just filing for the record, item 6A is the lease agreement between the Metropolitan Transportation Authority and the Village of Mamaroneck for commuter parking at Mamaroneck Train Station. Item 6B is filing for the record the agreement for fireworks for July 4th, 2009. Those funds have been provided in the adopted budget.
Lenny, do we have a time the fireworks start this year? Do we have a definitive time? Do
We
we put?
couldn't
do we-
get
That is usually up to the chairman of the Carnival Committee of the Fire Department.
We
Okay.
had problems with it was rainy.
Right. They didn't want people leaving the
Yeah, it was
carnival.
raining. Night.
It was raining, they didn't want to, they had trouble with the fuse. Okay, report from the clerk treasurer, Mr. Fusco.
File for the record is the Village of Mamaroneck Housing Authority's audit report submitted by Sickler, Torchia, Allen, and Churchill for the year ended December 31st, 2007. Please note it's an unqualified opinion. Some of the financial highlights of the financial statement is that the assets authorities exceeded liabilities to close the most recent fiscal year by $1.4 million. It's approximately $165,000 in excess of previous year.
Bless you.
The authority's restricted and unrestricted cash and cash equivalents as of December 31st was $1,041,853. Financial statement has been filed with the clerk treasurer. It's in good standing. Second item to report was that the Village of Mamaroneck Public Libraries will have its vote on the budget and elections of 4 trustees on Tuesday, December 9th, 2008. I'd also like to note that the new village website is up. I'd like to give a special thanks to Trustee Randy Rabinowitz. For 6 months prior to the site going up, she did all the research in finding this vendor, laid out a template for us, so it's kind of really easy for us to put the stuff up. Sally did an amazing job in constantly getting the work to the vendor and having all the information up. She spent very late nights staying here. Right before the site went up, Mayor also stepped in and gave a lot of hard work, giving us a hand, so thank you. It really helps taking
And
the
it's a
load off
work
our
in
shoulders once in a
progress.
while. It's work in progress, and
But,
there's more to come.
It's a vast difference.
Looks very good.
Over the.
I'm sure the
previous
village
website.
manager who's in charge of the site will give us more of an update.
Yeah, I saw the buck just go right past me.
Didn't even stop.
Well, if you notice, Mr. Fusco, with my training I received today, I put up on the bulletin board the Veterans Day service tomorrow, which will be held at
And announce that.
11 a.m. in front of the American Legion Hall at the monument here.
Thank you.
So I did pay attention, and I was able to update it on my own.
For the people watching this, I know you're enjoying the theater, but seriously, it's, the new website is up. I think you'll find it much easier to locate items. If there's anything that you can't find that was on the old website that's not on the new website, please contact us and we'll address your concern. The website is available at the same address as the old website, so if you had that bookmarked, you'll just automatically pull up the new website, and you'll realize it immediately that you're on a different website. And I want to thank Trustee Rabinowitz and the staff, and not just the staff who are present, but every department head has worked hard to get, there's a lot of forms that can be downloaded now, that instead of having to call or come into Village Hall, you can just download forms from the website. It's going to be a lot more user-friendly, and it's a work in progress. There'll be a lot more to be added. The building department still needs to come online. That's the one department that we're still working on. So hopefully someday soon, you can download the form. You don't have to schlep up the 3 flights of stairs to the building department in this building, so that'll be very good. Good progress. Anything else, Mr. Fusco?
No, now that you mentioned forms, we're also going to start working on redoing the forms so they're fill-inable right online, so they can print them out as per the mayor's suggestion.
Thank you
Just
very
haven't
much.
gotten to it yet.
Well, we are in the 21st century, and I like to keep us current, right? Or at least get us close to current. Thank you. Report from the village attorney, item 8.
Ever so briefly, the local law number 8, the key box law, was filed with the state on October 20th, 2008. I just want to say that the law also is posted on our website, along with all the other local laws we've passed this year. So,
Learned how to upload it in your training today for the website, right?
yes, and there was I should also note that there still is the link to our village code, but note that the village code is not updated as frequently as it can be. And so I urge you all to look at all of the local laws that have been passed this year to be current with all the events in the village.
And the filing of the local law started the time frame, or when we passed it started I think we had 8 months for people to comply, is that?
There was a grace period for certain applications. I don't recall what it is, but it's set forth in the law.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, you can always call.
Okay. Item 9, report from the police chief.
Yes, Mayor, I just want to announce that due to the excellent police work of Officer Massey and the Detective Division, a burglary suspect was arrested at 3:30 a.m. in the morning on November 6th, and after a subsequent investigation was found out that this same person was responsible for 5 other burglaries in the village of Mamaroneck. So hopefully we won't have to deal with him for a while.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank
you
you to the
very
staff,
much.
good
Good
work.
job.
Okay, we have for the record the minutes of the planning board from September 25th, 2008. And we're at that point in the agenda where anyone would like to address the board on any issue, please step forward and state your name and address. I knew you came for a reason. Haven't seen you in a while. Please, although we know you, state your name
Glenn
and address.
Tippett, 506 Hill Street. First of all, congratulations on your reelection. Very nice campaign. I always get to see both Tony and Paul Ryan at my voting poll. Unfortunately, I'm in charge of the town, so they don't pay much attention to me when they're doing the canvassing. I'm kind of lonely. I just want to bring up 2 points. I'm glad to see that the website's up. It's something that I've been asking about over the years with the downloading of the forms and such. I would now like to once again request, if possible, if the Village of Mamaroneck tax rolls can be placed on there. We've never had the tax rolls for the Village of Mamaroneck placed on the system. It's always been the Town of Rye portion of the Village of Mamaroneck.
And they weren't even the village tax rolls, they were
Yeah,
the
they were the town
rolls.
tax rolls, yes.
I think our new, we're computerizing, the system, so you guys will look into it and let us know.
And speak to
whether
the
it's doable.
assessor, yeah.
He looks like he wants to say.
See if-
Glenn, I'm meeting with KVS Wednesday to see how to export their file onto our webpage, so we could actually put the tax bills and the tax roll on. I can
Excellent,
get back to you with more
working
information
on
on that.
excellent.
And
Thank you
people
very
that don't
much.
know, KVS is our financial, for people that don't know, KVS is our financial software package.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn.
We're getting there.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else wish to address the board at this time? No? Any announcements from members of the board? Why don't you go?
I actually, funny, I have a lot tonight. I run for election, I don't say anything for 2 months.
Yeah.
Now I have a lot. The first one I want to talk about is kind of a, it's a community thing, but it's kind of a personal thing, too. It's the girls' field hockey in the village, in Mamaroneck High School. My daughter plays on it, as does a lot of kids. There's 23 kids on the team. They were 21-1 this year. They won the sectional title. They came a little short in the regional title. They lost 1-0, and it was the first goal they had ever given up. They shut out 21 teams this season, and the girls, they played their hearts out, and they have a lot to be proud of. They worked so hard, and I just want to thank their coaches, John Savage and Patricia Miller, who's a resident of the village. They both put in an amazing amount of time. They started last year right after, I'd say, Christmas practicing, and they finished on Saturday. And these girls were practicing every day after school and games on the weekends. And it was a great experience for them. It built a lot of confidence in these young ladies. The second thing I want to point out is there's a program called HEAP. It's the Home Energy Assistance Program. And I'm going to send a link to Sally tomorrow to put on the website so people can download the form for HEAP. It's a program that I think the federal government runs where you can apply if you're under a certain income for some financial help to help heat your home this winter. While prices have fallen a little bit, they're still, relatively high to past years, and a lot of senior citizens I know are struggling to heat their homes this winter, I'm sorry, and this hopefully will be of some assistance to some people in the village. So look for it on our website. It's HEAP, H-E-A-P, the Home Energy Assistance Program. And Bob Galvin, who's the chairman of our planning board, has been elected to the board of directors of the Westchester Municipal Planning Program. And I just want to thank Bob for his hard work in the village, and I'm glad he's finally being recognized throughout the county. The last thing I want to talk about is a sad event that happened. A longtime resident of the village, Mr. Sal Yanuzzi, passed away, I think on Friday. He passed away, and the wake was this weekend, and he was buried today. Mr. Yanuzzi was a fireman for 52 years. Up until very recently, he had been answering fire calls. He was 80 years old, and he had never stopped being an active firefighter in the village of Mamaroneck. Not only was he an active firefighter, he was also a longtime youth sports coach in the village. Many children know him because he was a crossing guard in the Rhinex school systems, and he was they call him Sally, and if you went on Mamaroneck Avenue on Saturday mornings, he was the crossing guard on Spencer and Mamaroneck Avenue by Payless Shoes, and he always had a smile on his face, and he was always, sometimes cars got backed up because Sally knew so many people,
Right.
and he would start having a conversation with the cars as they went by, but everybody, it was just so nice on a Saturday morning to drive past and see a smiling face. And he was a man of infinite good humor, and I never saw him where he wasn't happy and he wasn't outgoing. And he's the kind of guy who really this village is built upon. He did everything for this community his whole life, and he is a great loss, one of the leading citizens of the village of Mamaroneck. Although he was never a wealthy man, but he was very blessed, and the people who loved him and the people who he loved were very blessed to have him around. And it's going to be a big loss to the village, and we just want to all say goodbye to Sal. And he died in the hospital, and he was surrounded by the people who loved him. And today the fire department gave him a huge send-off. So I think at the end of your days, when you're surrounded by your families and friends, and you go to meet your maker with them sending you along, that is a life well lived. And Sal had a life well lived, and he will be sorely missed by his community, and and by the people he touched in the village of Mamaroneck. That's it.
He was an inspiration. Very touching services last night at the funeral home. We had over 100 firefighters from the village and around the area come to pay tribute to him and the Rhineck football team, and he will be sorely missed. I believe they actually, the funeral procession went past the schools today.
Oh, wow.
I heard yesterday that the children were going to come outside and pay homage to him as he passed by one last time.
And I just have to say, my kids go to Rhinex schools, and Sal always had a smile on his face, and he was never cross, although he was a crossing guard. That just kind of came out.
Really lovely service. Yeah.
And I can't say anything nicer than Tom just said, but he definitely, the one thing that kind of touched me is at the wake, they had a booklet that the kids had written, the Daniel Warden kindergarten kids, with the most incredible typos you ever saw, and they just saying, "We love you, Sal," and this was at the end of last year. "We love you. We thank you for the crossing us or keeping us safe." SFE. So he is a real. He's the kind of people that make Mamaroneck great.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
The only thing else I have to say is the work on Taylor's Lane. people are always interested in is beginning a week from today on November 17th. What that work is draining surrounding the landfill some of the leachate, which the leachate is not toxic, but it is in a couple of neighbors' sub pumps. So, and there's some pressure, so it's going to reduce the pressure on the landfill. We're working with Westchester County to drain off that additional water. It's basically water, groundwater, and so hopefully the landfill will get lower, and then there'll be no more water in the sub pump, and we can go further and develop it. I also want to congratulate the Hispanic Resource Center on November, who recently just had their dinner dance. It was quite a wonderful affair, and it was a real celebration of people, just regular people, who are teaching English, both adults and students, to members who English is their second language. And I thought it was a very commendable experience and positive experience. And somebody turned to me and said to me, who was of Italian descent, they turned to me and they said, gosh, these were our relatives just 50 years ago. So it's a very wonderful thing that people are helping others. And I just want to tell everyone to please come tomorrow to the veteran service at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
I just want to also congratulate the KEEPS program for their 25th anniversary, serving the children of this community in after-school programs. I was on their board for some years, and they do wonderful work, and I can't believe that they've been already here for 25 years. I look forward to many more years of the KEEPS program. That's pretty much it for me.
Well, I too wanted to address Sal Yanuzzi, and I think one thing that a lot of people, as Tom said, he was heavily active in the community, but his interests and his activities were varied. And I was a child that played soccer down at Harbor Island for many years, and you know, Sal was involved in the soccer league almost from its inception. So I think that his volunteerism is something that everybody in the community should, take to heart, because it was really an amazing thing, the amount of activities that he was involved in, even up until I think 2006, he was still coaching soccer down there. So I think it's pretty remarkable. And then I also too wanted to address KEEPS, because I did go to their anniversary dinner, and one thing that I will say is, having volunteered for KEEPS, although briefly when it first started out, or shortly after it started out, having sent my own children there, I can strongly recommend the program, and it's great to see it doing so well. And then lastly, I also wanted to address the election and just say thank you to Mary Lou and Ron for the campaign and volunteering. I know it's difficult to lose, and I'm sorry that somebody has to, but putting yourself out there for the community and giving the people a choice is important, and I thank you for that. And I also wanted to say thank you to Judge Serlin for the many years of service that he provided to the community.
I'd like to add my thanks to that as well. That was very well put, John, and I add my thanks to you, Mary Lou, to Ron, and to Judge Serlin. And I would be remiss if I didn't say one thing about Sal, and that is that he has taught those that follow in his family to carry on the tradition of volunteerism. I can't think of one Yanuzzi in this village who isn't out there doing the kinds of things that Sal taught them by his own example to do. So his legend does live on in his family, and that's kind of the gift we give. And so Sal will be with us through the rest of the Yanuzzis for a long time.
He will be missed. Even people who didn't know they know him knew him.
Yeah.
Because you just saw him every Saturday out on the avenue. So he will be missed. I have a couple of compliments received from village staff. one for one of our newest officers, Jose Gomez. Resident went out of the way to tell me what a nice young man he is and was happy he was on our force. I got compliments from the residents of Flagler Drive, thanking our DPW, Mr. Iacovelli, and members of the DPW staff who responded to a problem in the middle of a storm in the end of October. They were having some problems with flooding, and it was a clogged storm drain, and DPW responded, and a tree was down. They responded right away and cleared the area. And then we actually get to thank an employee who actually sits on the dais with us.
Yes, very nice.
Just, I guess it was last week or the week before, there was an unfortunate incident up at the waterworks where a member of the waterworks staff was taken ill. And when you install a phone system, it's really difficult, as I found out today from the waterworks people, to test to make sure 911 works, because they don't like you calling unless it's a true emergency. So they never had to call 911 from the waterworks until this particular employee was stricken ill. And lo and behold, it didn't work. So what did they do? They called Sally. Why they picked up the phone and called Sally? I guess they just knew she would take care of things. And Sally acted very quickly and got the ambulance there. And I'm happy to report that the employee had some procedures done, was in ICU, was near death, but now he's home and resting comfortably and is looking forward to coming back to work in about 2 or 3 months. So thank you, Sally, for your quick action. They thought he was a goner, frankly, and so I think you helped save his life. As our village manager announced, tomorrow is Veterans Day. Please thank a veteran. We can't say that enough. The services for the Village of Mamaroneck will be held right out in front of this building at the memorial in front of the American Legion Hall on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, which is when the original armistice was signed, ending what was supposed to be the war to end all wars, which was World War I, which was 90 years ago. So that, and if you have a flag that you need to dispose of, please, they'll do a flag retirement ceremony. Old flags must be burned. That's how you have to dispose of them by law. So if you have a flag that's somewhat tattered and needs disposal, please come tomorrow to right here in front of Village Hall. And I also want to announce that it's that time of year again, right after the election and before the annual organizational meeting of the village, where we ask residents to get involved. In the spirit of Sal Yanuzzi, please get involved in a volunteer capacity on one of the boards and commissions. We have openings on every board, as we do every December. And I can get these, the reporters are scribbling furiously. I can email you the list tomorrow. If you're working tomorrow, it's a holiday, but I have it at home. Oh, no, I don't have it. I'll get it to you. Board of Appeals, we have an opening. Our Board of Architectural Review, there's one opening. Our new Board of Ethics, we will be constituting that. There are 5 openings. Board of Traffic Commissioners, there are 2 openings. Budget Committee, 2 openings. Council of the Arts, 4 openings. If you have an artistic bent and like to organize artistic events for the community, we need 4 people. Committee for the Environment, there are 2 openings. Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee, there are 3 openings. Harbor and Coastal Zone Management Commission, there are 3 openings. Mamaroneck Avenue Task Force, if you'd like to have a say in what goes on the way Mamaroneck Avenue looks, there are 2 openings. The Planning Board, there's 1 opening. The Recreation and Parks Commission, there are 3 openings, and there are 2 openings on the Tree Committee. So if any of those pique your interest, this list is also on the website, and I think we can actually link the openings to the enabling legislation that explains what each one of these committees does. We'll work on that on Wednesday. Tomorrow is a village holiday, so if it's not there tomorrow, you'll know why. I think that's all I had to say. Thank you very much. Anybody have anything else to add? I need a motion to adjourn the meeting then.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we have to
We have to go.
Sorry, we have to go into executive session. Thank you very much. Reminding you, so we're not going to vote on the,
Executive session?
we're going to,
Yeah, make a
we're
motion.
going to withdraw the
Yeah, one
motion
motion to close, one
to
open.
adjourn the meeting.
Adjourn this meeting, then you get a motion.
Yeah, now we can open.
We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Make the motion.
Second.
employment of a particular individual? Is
It's not a particular individual, no. We're going to talk about boards and commissions, and we're going to talk about the village manager search, how that's coming. It's moving along. Interviews are happening.
Need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of adjourning to, going into executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Usually using Metro North as a guide.
Is that mine?
When I was
No, it's fine. You can give this out.
25%
Or give this to Sally.